Well, welcome to another day, or actually it's going to be another night in Myanmar. I'm in Yangon at the Yangon railway station, the central railway station, and I'm waiting for the overnight train up to Bagan. I'm not really sure what I've gotten myself into. I just always prefer to travel by train if I can. I'm not a big fan of buses. And if I don't have my bicycle, I always look for a train. And this one apparently takes 18 hours to get to Bagan, which is double the time that a bus would take, which I didn't realize when I booked the ticket. So 18 hours is a long time. And I found out that the train tracks are a little bit warped here, a little bit unbalanced, so the train rocks from side to side almost all the time while you're traveling. So people have reported that they aren't even able to sleep on this train because I've booked the sleeper car, and yeah, I'm hoping to sleep a little bit. We'll see how that works out too. Here's the train platform. There's some confusion about where I'm supposed to be. Everything I read and everything I was told at the train station booking office told me that the train left from platform 2. But when I got here, people have been pointing me towards platform 3, which is where this one is. That's where I am now. And as you can see, the rainy season is in full force. So it's not the greatest day to be out wandering around. But I won't be arriving in Bagan until tomorrow morning, maybe 10 o'clock, noon, something like that. And by then, maybe the weather will have cleared up, or it'll be nice and sunny up in Bagan, at least for half the day. Find out when we get there. I guess I haven't mentioned it yet, but the train leaves at 4 p.m. It's 3:30 right now. Train isn't here yet, but I have seen a lot of excitement down the tracks, people looking around, and I've heard a horn, like a honking from a train. So I think there's a train on its way soon. I'm very curious to see what the sleeper car looks like. I booked my ticket 2 or 3 days ago, and I think I was the first one. So I got seat 1, or coach 1, seat 1A, whatever that is. I don't know how many people are in each sleeper coach. Again, we'll find out when it gets here. All a very new experience. I didn't do a lot of research into this trip, but I did read a couple of articles online about this train in the past being delayed or completely canceled due to heavy rain. So that may not be a good omen for this train and the weather today, because the rain is really coming down hard. There hasn't been much rain the last 3 or 4 days, but I tend to have fairly poor luck when it comes to stuff like this. The day that I go somewhere will be the day that it rains heavily almost every time, and my luck has held out. So yeah, the rain is really coming down. And there's the rain coming down. I think a lot of these people are in the regular coach area, so they're going to be in upright chairs for 18 hours. It's a long time to be sitting in a hard bench, I think. Or maybe the train is nicer than I think it will be. I see some activity on the track, so it's getting exciting. There's a train coming my way. I was wondering where the train was going to come from, because a train is blocking the tracks in that direction. So I was wondering where could the train come from, but it appears to be backing into position. And there it is over there, coming in out of the rain. Yeah, as I said, this train trip is going to be a complete mystery. I did do a little bit of research, but everything I read online contradicted itself. One article would say one thing and a different article would say something else, and the contradictions continued all the way to the prices. Some websites had quite high prices, like $40 US for a sleeper car, which seemed pretty high. But when I went to the ticketing office, I had to pay $11 US for my ticket. So that's about 16,500 chats. And here comes the train.
Hello.
Hello.
My train.
Yeah, my train?
Yeah,
To Bagan? Yeah, it's a car 1. Yeah.
A, B, C, D.
1A.
Ticket.
Yeah, I have it in my wallet. It's yeah. Car 1.
Over there.
Yeah, it's over there. A lot of these are ordinary class. At least that's what it says up there at the top. Ordinary class. Yeah, they are hard wooden benches. Look at that. There are no cushions in there at all. No windows either.
Over there.
Yep. Well, and this woman ahead of me with the red skirt, she wants to show me where my car is. I'm sure she'll want a tip. Rain coming down. Oh, yeah, I have it. There's like a dining car of some kind. Ooh, this
Hello.
yeah,
Hey.
car 1. Ah, hey. It's heavy.
Oh.
It's very wet.
Yeah.
Whew. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, right here.
Your tip.
You beer? Beer?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, beer, cold. Water.
No, I have water.
Is it small way?
Oh, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Beer. Beer.
I don't know what you're saying.
Beer.
Oh, I don't want any beer.
You want?
No, not water.
Stop coming to remind you of water cold.
No, I have water. No, thanks. I don't need it. I don't need anything. It's okay.
Water.
No, thanks. You're locking
Water
me.
cold.
No, thank you.
Original water.
No, thanks. I don't need any water. I have.
Coca-Cola?
No, thanks.
Coffee?
No, I'm okay.
Beer one.
No, I don't
One
need any
beer.
beer. No, thank you. So this is already turning into quite the adventure. Getting into my car meant going through like literally a waterfall. It was like a deluge just getting through the door. So I was soaked on my way in. The young woman who was insisted on helping me kind of bundled me into this car, and I didn't see any markings anywhere that said, you know, coach 1, 2, 3. There's no numbers on any of them, but I think it's car or coach number 1. I honestly can't be sure. So here I am in this coach, and I hope I'm in the right one, because to my dismay, it doesn't connect to any other cars. Like, you're in here, you're basically in isolation. Like, if you look behind me, there's a solid wall, and the wall on this side is a bathroom, I guess. So even though there is a dining car ahead of me, there's no way to get to it. In fact, once they close the door to this section, I'm locked inside. You can't go to any of the other cars. Yeah, you really can't go anywhere. I'm also not sure how many people are supposed to be in here, because it's a sleeper, which would mean, I guess, I would assume 4 people, because this would be for one person, this top bunk for one, and then the lower chairs would turn into beds as well. So there's 4 beds, but they're numbered A1 to A8. So as if they could get like 8 people in here. Anyway, so it's quite confusing. There's no one here like taking tickets or checking tickets. I'm just sort of in here all by myself. Let's check out this lavatory. So here is the lavatory, which is basically a toilet that dumps down onto the tracks. And I don't know if there's running water in here. There is actually, which is interesting. Got some soap. And that's about it. And there's another room over here, and I have no idea what it's for. I was hoping it would be an entrance into the other car, but you can't go anywhere. It's just got an opening down here in the bottom, as if it's another bathroom, but can't imagine using that. So I guess this is my seat in here. Do I have any lights? Oh, there's lights. Oh, actually we have a light and a fan up there, which is nice. So far I'm in here all by myself. One thing I would like to be able to do is open this window. But I don't. Oh. I can't see any way of opening anything. That would be a bummer. Huh. Because the window is so dirty you can't see anything through it. And I don't see any way to open it. The whole reason one would take a train to begin with is for the scenery. You know, be able to walk up and down the train, see a bunch of other people, get some cold snacks here and there, cold drinks, and look out the window at the countryside. But so far, this train isn't working out that way because I'm in my own little prison train here, and so far I don't see any way to open a window. I want to stick my head out the door just to look up and down the train, see what's going on, but you can't really do that. You'll get soaked in this downpour. Yeah, the Great Train Adventure is off to a fairly rough start here. If I'm not on the right train, who knows where I'll end up. So this might be it. I'm not sure. The train started moving, but got a couple of young girls on board constantly trying to sell me water, and they're still in the train car. So here we are, we're moving. A lot of dogs that live in the train station. Train dogs. So things are good as far as the schedule is concerned, because the train was scheduled to leave at 4 o'clock and it left at exactly 4 o'clock. This is the weirdest train experience I've had so far, because as I said, I'm the only person in here. There's really no markings to tell me, at least in English, that I'm in the right place. And there's no way to get from this car to any other part of the train. So I don't even know how ticket checkers would get in here. Do they climb along the outside? Is there a trap door somewhere? No idea what's going on. On the positive side, not that that was all negative, that was all just really strange. On the positive side, I did figure out how to open the window. Turns out that the window can lift upwards, so I'm going to try and do that now. And there you have it, me sitting in my window seat. Open window now, rain pouring down. And I'm in here all by myself. I don't know if that'll last, because I'm sure this train stops in other places. And if it stops in other places, other cities, people could get on at that point. But leaving from Yangon, yeah, no other passengers so far. And there's the view out my window. I have no idea who all these people are. I have to say I was a bit of a disappointment for all the young girls on the train tracks, because I'm kind of prepared for the trip. I don't really need anything. I've got 2 large bottles of water. I've got food for the journey. I wasn't in the mood to drink beer, anything like that. So all these young girls kept pouring into this car. Some of them came in and then they took the door and they slammed it shut and locked it. So I was locked inside with them, I guess, to keep other hawkers out. To keep me their customer. I don't really know why they did that. Or maybe the train officials would kick them out or something. Anyway, so they jump on, slam the door, lock it, and then they sat down in the seat opposite me and, tried to sell me water, beer, Coke. And yeah, I just had to tell them I've got everything I need already. I have water, and that's about it. I thought I could have a beer later on, but I was hoping to be able to go to the, cafeteria car and have a beer up there or something. But as I said, there's no way to get out of my train prison at the moment. Another interesting angle to this whole train adventure so far is that the woman in the red skirt who brought me to this train car, she originally caught me right on the stairs as I was arriving. And she asked me where I was going. And that's always one of those weird things when you're in a country like this, because I know what she's doing. She wants to go with me and be my guide. And then afterwards, of course, I would give her a tip for her help. I didn't need her help because I knew where I was going. I had all the information I needed. But if she walks beside you the whole way, then there's nothing you can do about it. She has performed the service as she sees it, and then it's up to you whether you want to actually pay her or not. And obviously I don't mind giving a tip for that. The only downside maybe is that if I pay for this service that I didn't really want, then the next foreigner who comes through will also be followed, and it will keep happening over and over because we keep paying. So maybe it doesn't bother me to give a little bit of money, but it might end up bothering the next foreigner who comes through. And the other interesting thing about that is that when the woman showed me this carriage, said that it was mine, whoa, she was the one who opened the door, and then she opened another door that had an electrical box in there. Ooh, I better close this door. It's slamming a lot. Let's go. Come on. Locked. Ooh. Oh. Anyway, as I was saying, that young woman opened this utility room where there's like a fuse box, and she flicked a bunch of fuses which turned on the power for this carriage, turned on the lights and the fan. And without her, I'd be sitting in here with no fan and no lights because I didn't know how to turn them on. No one from the train station has been into this car yet. So, yeah, without her, I'd be sitting in the dark in the heat, you know? So it was a good thing that she performed that service for me. We've got a work crew over there dealing with some flooding. Hopefully there isn't too much flooding along the tracks. Well, I think maybe I will see if I can open one of these windows as well, just so I can look outside on this side. There we go. Ta-da! Open window on this side. Don't know if that's good or bad in the long run, but I can close it later on if I try to get some sleep. There's another train dog up there. Maybe I'll leave this one closed for now. So now I can see outside there, and I can see outside here. Still, I'm not sure what's going on with the doors, because if the door is open, it slams and slams and slams as the train is rocking. But if I close it and lock it, then no one else can get into this compartment of the train from the outside. It's kind of weird. I feel like I'm a little bit in some kind of a Korean zombie movie, you know, some post-apocalyptic train ride I'm on now. So it's a really great movie called, I know the movie really well. I just can't think of the name of it right now. But there's another Korean movie on a train all about the zombie apocalypse. I kind of feel like I'm in one of these ghost trains right now. Man, the rain is, it's not coming down hard right now, but it's really steady and kind of miserable. Here we are at another train station. One of the things I read online about this train is that during the rainy season, which is the low season for tourism, they don't even put a sleeper carriage on the train. They need a minimum number of people in order to bother. And if foreigners or other people don't book their sleeper berths in advance, they just don't even bother putting the carriage on. So I was told there were no sleeper berths on the train right now. And when I went to the train station, the booking office, which is totally separate from the train station, by the way. If you go to the train station to buy your ticket, you're out of luck because you have to go to a completely different building. And that was an interesting experience. I should have taken some video of that, because the Myanmar Railway office, like ticket booking office, is, again, a very strange place. It was completely empty. There's nobody in there at all. I was the only person. It was like a vast complex underneath this roof. Looked to be 100 years old. Everything was rotting and old. And when I went in there to buy my ticket, I went up to a window and the guy asked me, "Now, where are you going? You know, Bagan. What day do you want to go? All these questions. Do you want a sleeper?" Yes. And after I answered all his questions, he just said, "Next window. Different window down there." So I leave his window, I walk around for a while, I see a guy at another window, I go in there. He asks me, "Where are you going, Bagan? What day do you want to go? Do you want a sleeper?" All this kind of stuff. I answered all his questions, and then he says, "Other window." This happened 4 times in a row. And it's understandable that you go to the wrong ticket window and they tell you to go to the right one. But why ask so many questions? What difference does my day of departure make? Like they say, what day do you want to go? And I said Tuesday. And then they says, oh, other window. What if I'd said Monday or Wednesday? Would have been the right window? I don't think so. So I had no idea why they kept asking all these questions and then sending me to the next window, the next one, the next one. I finally got to a window in a whole different section. He asked me all the questions, and then he sent me to another window in that section. And this window had like a big sign covering half of the opening. So I couldn't even see the guy behind it, and I had to like crouch down, and there's this tiny little gap where I had to kind of look up and talk to him and explain ticket to Bagan on this date, sleeper. And to my surprise and my pleasure, it turned out they had them. So I bought a ticket, and as I said, it wasn't as expensive as I thought. It was 16,500 chats, which is about $11 US for an 18-hour train trip. So I thought that was pretty reasonable. And I noticed when he wrote down my name on the form, they had like a chart showing all the berths. My name was the only name in that whole section. I thought it would fill up since then, but obviously it hasn't filled up too much with all of my empty berths around me. So here we are. Yeah, on the train to Bagan. Well, we are 1 hour into our 18-hour journey. Still kind of rattling through the outskirts of Yangon. Haven't really left the city yet. Yeah, my compartment is still completely empty. We haven't stopped at any other stations though. We've passed through a bunch of stations and we're moving slowly enough that anybody could have jumped through the door and taken a seat. But I hardly see any people at the stations anyway. A lot of construction along the railroad tracks. And this rain certainly makes life here kind of miserable. All these men working in the mud, trying to build things and get the flooding under control. The distance to Bagan, by the way, is I think 430 miles, and that comes out to like 690 kilometers. So that's the distance we're covering on this overnight trip. We're passing some kind of a market area. It goes right up to the train tracks. Oh, maybe that's the end of it. You always get a lot of interesting homes right beside the railroad tracks. Things are getting a bit bumpier now as we're picking up speed. A little bit more of open countryside. Really have to hold on tight, else I'll get thrown out this doorway. The train is really starting to rock from side to side. There's my seat over here. Whoa. Gotta hold on tight. There's the view from out the other side of the train. sun is going to go down pretty soon, and then we won't be able to see anything. One thing it would be nice to have would be a electrical outlet in here, because there is power enough to run a fan anyway. But I've looked around and I don't see any electrical outlets anywhere. Bouncing around. There's the sun peeking out just a little bit. Sunset will happen fairly soon, I think. Not sure if anyone can hear me. This train is pretty loud as it rumbles along. For quite a while now, we're just passing very small villages. A lot of farmers, rice farmers mainly, I think. Not much to report, just an update. It's nighttime now. It's dark outside, pitch black in the countryside, so I can't really see anything. I've got all the windows closed now, and yeah, I had to close the doors as well, which is kind of weird because they keep opening by themselves and slamming shut, so I actually have to throw the bolts on this door and on this door. So I'm essentially, man, it's so loud in here, it's crazy. So I'm essentially locked inside. If we stop at another station and another passenger wants to get in, they won't be able to because the door is locked, closed and locked. But I can't really unlock it because it swings open and bangs all over the place. So anyway, I'm not ready to go to bed yet, but I did want to lie down, so I took the bed out. And that's what it looks like there. You pull the seat out on both sides, the back drops down, and you end up with kind of a bed. It's about what you'd expect. It's pretty rough, kind of uneven. And when I pull this out, all kinds of insects came flying out of there. There were cockroaches, flies, moths, crickets, I think. All kinds of things came out of that area and out of that area as well. And now there's some, and there's also some mosquitoes floating around in here. So it may not be the most, comfortable night coming up. Anyway, that's about it. I'm going to turn off my camera for the night, put it away, and I'll see you in the morning when the sun comes up. Good morning. It is now 13 hours after the last time I had the camera on, and that has to have been one of the strangest and longest nights I've ever endured here on this funky train to Bagan. We've now reached kind of a farming district, which is really nice. I'll swing the camera around and show you the scenery outside. It's all very flat land, and all the farmers seem to be out planting and getting the next crop ready. I don't see any nearby right now, but the farmers use bullocks to pull a plow. You can see one way off in the distance there. And they have these really beautiful wooden carts that their animals pull as well. Well, here's one right here. You can see the whole thing is made out of wood with wooden wheels, and it looks like iron bands around the wooden wheels. Very traditional farming methods up here. Though I did see one tractor. Anyway, as for my night on the train, I ended up with this compartment all to myself the entire trip. No one else got on board, and it turned out to be a little bit more comfortable than I expected. Once I got the bed, I pulled the seats out and made the bed, and despite the train throwing me from side to side, bouncing me up and down, and the tremendous amount of banging and crashing noises from all over the place, I still managed to get a fair amount of rest, which surprises me. I don't know if I look rested or not, but I actually feel fairly rested, so that's a good thing. What a crazy night. Oh, I don't even know where to begin. It's like right now we're moving at a very low speed, but this train actually gets moving pretty fast. And when it does, it's like a roller coaster, completely out of control with the bouncing up and down. You didn't even have to breathe, because as you were bounced up and slammed down so hard, your lungs were actually compressed in the bed, and it was forcing air in and out of my lungs. I didn't even have to do anything. It's the weirdest feeling. And the few times that I had to go into the bathroom here, that was like taking my life in my hands. You had to hold on hard, being tossed from wall to wall. And there's so many sharp edges here. I could easily see, losing your balance, falling into something and cutting yourself quite badly. And I was thinking about that last night, that the way this carriage is set up, as I said yesterday, it's private. I can't go anywhere. There are two doors, one on this side, one on that side, but each door just goes to the outside world. If I step out there, I jump into the ditch. So if you were in here and you had some kind of a medical emergency or something, you'd be in real trouble, because there's nothing you can do. You're trapped in this room. I couldn't go out of here at all. I'd be stuck in this room until the train stopped somewhere. With all this bouncing, I can't even think straight. Another funny thing about the night is that there are so many loose doors and loose latches and tables and all kinds of things, and everything that was loose would swing and bang, swing and bang, swing and bang. And all through the night I kept having to track these things down. I mean, I use earplugs all the time, but even with the earplugs, this amount of noise still gets through. And that banging, I always had to check it to make sure things weren't being broken or something. So for example, I've got a table right here in front of me. I'll show it to you. So there's this table, and it swings and bangs all night long. The table over there that constantly swings and bangs. Those two big doors would swing open and bang until I lodged them shut. Inside this room, there's a fuse box, and the fuse box doors would come open and swing around and slam shut, and I had to figure out a way to get those jammed tight. And then in the bathroom over there are some other doors that lead to plumbing fixtures, and those doors were swinging open and banging shut. And for all these different doors and latches, I had to find bits of cloth and paper and cardboard and jam them into all the hinges and into the cracks to try and hold it in place so it wouldn't swing around and bang so much. Really had to go MacGyver on this compartment. At one point during the night, I noticed these vents on the ceiling, and I thought maybe this car had air conditioning. And since nobody from Myanmar Railways ever came into this car to check on me or take my ticket or do anything, I thought maybe there was air conditioning and I could turn it on with the fuse box. So in the middle of the night, I'm in the utility room there, and I've got the fuse open, and there's a whole row of fuses there, and I'm trying to figure out which one might be for the air conditioner, and I'm turning things on and off, you know, watching the lights and the fan go on and off, trying to figure out whether I get this air conditioner to work. For all I know, I was shutting down the whole train. I don't know. But in the end, I couldn't get any cold air to come out of those vents. So I don't think, if there was air conditioning, I think there was, it's not working anymore. My whole body is so sore, like all the muscles in my shoulder, my rib cage, everything is really sore because I've had to tense my muscles all night long just to hold myself in position. This has been a real workout, I have to say. Hear that banging? That's the loudest banging that the train produces, and it goes on all night long. It's like a gunshot. I was gonna get up and open the door to show it to you, but it's too dangerous right now to get up and walk around. I'm gonna stay in my seat. But I think that banging might be the suspension on the train, and it's so worn out that it can't hold up the carriage anymore. So on every bounce, it slams into the axles or the wheels. But when you open the utility room door, that banging is so loud, it really hurts your ears. Whew. Like I said, this has been quite a ride. It's 9 a.m. right now, and I think we're scheduled to arrive in Bagan at 11:30. It's about 2.5 hours to go, and I think we're about 100 kilometers away. 60 miles, 100 kilometers still to go to get to Bagan. I think the engineers on this train really learned their route well, because on this long journey, they're constantly slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. Because sometimes they'll come up to a bridge and they know the bridge is weak or not safe and they have to slow down for that bridge. But then they get to other bridges and they just race right across. So they must know that that bridge is still in good condition. And of course they have to constantly stop where the tracks go down to a single line and there's another train coming south. So we have to come to a stop, wait for that train to pass, and then we can continue. No. Hope I'm not coming down with yet another flu here in Myanmar. There's the train. All those cars ahead of me are ordinary class. All last night while I was lying on this bed, I kept thinking about all the people in ordinary class sitting, like I said before, on those hard wooden benches. They looked like church pews to me. Actually not even as comfortable as church pews because they weren't rounded at all. They were like straight, hard wooden benches. And for them to sit there for 18 hours with this rough ride, that takes some endurance. So I don't think I could have done it. After a few hours, I'd probably have to get off the train or I would be a total wreck at the end of the journey, that's for sure. We're arriving at a train station. A lot of these small stations we just blew right past. We didn't even stop. So I guess we only stop at the larger stations. A lot of people trying to get on. Since I'm blocked from going to that part of the train, I have no idea what it's like up there. I haven't even seen the interior of the ordinary class, since it loaded up with passengers. So I don't know how crowded it is. My guess is that it's very crowded, especially with the amount of luggage and stuff from the markets that people bring with them. And I was sort of expecting on this train to have tons of people come up to the window to try and sell me cold drinks and snacks and things like that, especially since this window is like right at ground level, like right beside the track. It's like there's no real privacy here at all. It's wide open. But nobody has. Like this whole journey, I've had this window wide open and nobody has come up to try and sell me anything. I'm going to turn the camera around while we pass the train station. There's some beautiful bullocks. Wow. And that sign there said Mahar in English, M-A-H-A-R. And maybe that's the name of this village. I've been checking my Google Maps and things like that, but most of the towns that we've stopped at haven't shown up by name on Google Maps. And that looks like a large school complex over there. Getting close to the end of this long journey, about 1 hour left to get to Bagan. And I have a room booked there in advance. And it remains to be seen whether I chose wisely or not. I don't know anything about this area. I've never been here before. And I guess there's a place called New Bagan, and then there's Old Bagan. And from what I read, those places tend to have a lot of expensive hotels, more high-end places to stay, because they're closer to the historic area. And there's another town called, I don't know how to pronounce it, Nyang-u, something like that. And I guess that's more low-budget accommodation, backpacker style. And that's probably where I should have booked a room, because it's actually quite close to the train station. Looking at the map now, I think I could have walked from the train station to Nyang-u if I'd booked a room there. But I ended up, I don't even know why anymore, but I picked this place that's on the road between Nyang-u and Old and New Bagan. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would have picked a place right in the heart of Nyang-u. But we'll see. It might be a really nice place. And find out when I get there in an hour and a half or so from now. We finally made it. Pulling into the Bagan railway station right now. And all in all, 20-hour train ride. 20 hours from Yangon to here. And it's a very hot and sunny day. As you can see, clear blue skies. Though it might rain this afternoon. Doesn't seem like the rainy season when I look around. It looks very dry out here. Very brown, dusty and dry. Oh, let's look out the door. Well, there's the train, but I don't see any kind of a train station. I have no idea which door I have to jump out of, whether the train station is on this side or that side. I think we're arriving in a couple of minutes. Actually, I don't know, now that I think about it, whether this train's final destination is Bagan or whether it continues on to Mandalay. I have no idea. I guess we can figure that out by seeing how many people get off the train. If everybody gets off, it's a good bet that it stops here. And finally, I see something that looks like a train station. 20 hours on this train, 20 hours inside this little tiny room. There's the sign, Bagan. Looks like cherry blossoms. Hello. Whoa, there's the...
Where are you going? How many people?
I'm going to the Golden Rose guest house. You know that one?
Yeah.
We are in the tuk-tuk heading to the Golden Rose Hotel, or Golden Rose Guest House. Yeah. They have a nice road that they built from the train station. I guess the airport is also right beside the train station. Here I am at my guest house in Bagan. Whew, always a little bit of chaos when I arrive someplace. It's always kind of funny that way. In this case, I had a lot of trouble communicating with my tuk-tuk driver from the train station, and he blew right past that hut where you're supposed to pay the 25,000 kyat fee. You have to buy a ticket for the archaeological zone. And I read so much about this place and how you have to stop there and buy a ticket. No matter what I said to this guy, he would not stop there. We just went right by it, and he wouldn't go back to it. And I wasn't sure if that's like the only place where you can buy a ticket. But now I got to my guest house, so I'm asking the guy at the counter about that. Like, where can I buy this archaeological zone ticket that all foreigners have to buy? And he doesn't speak hardly any English at all. So he had no idea what I was asking about. He said a few things about pagodas and this and that, but I had no idea what he was saying. Anyway, my room seems fine. It isn't the same as the pictures that I saw online. I booked it online, and the picture of the room looked very nice, a very different, kind of stylish, with open wooden beams and all this kind of thing. But the room that I have, I mean, it's a perfectly fine room. It's much nicer than most rooms I stay in, but it looks nothing like the room on their advertisement. So we'll have to figure out what that's all about. So here I am, nice big double bed, and they give a TV, which I probably will never turn on, and your basic bathroom. Water, is it cold? Yeah, oh, cold water and an air conditioner, and that's me. Wow, for a guy who did nothing but sit down and lie down for 20 hours, I'm pretty tired. Anyway, I'm gonna have some cold water. So I'm in room B3, and there's the hallway outside. A bunch of rooms overlooking the lobby. And I'm told that they serve breakfast up here. They called it the second floor, and I was confused about that, but it's up here, what I would call the third floor. Ah, I see. So they have this rooftop area, which is nice. So here I am in Bagan on the rooftop of my guest house, and starting a small adventure in the north of Myanmar. Since I arrived here, I think that is going to be the end of this video, and I'll pick up my story either this afternoon or sometime tomorrow. So I'll see you in the next video.